Do you have any advice for other disabled people, specifically people with the same disability as you that are seeking to study abroad?
Uh, my advice is, okay, medications. Make sure you have some prescriptions, have like your doctor note, whatever, that says that you are on certain medications, because also find out what the name of your medication is in another country. In the off chance, because it's happened for me, I have had to get, I get migraines because my neurological system is screwed. So um, I had to go, I had to find out, because the British have different names for medication. And I had to find out what kind. I was like, I take this medication called Zomig. And so they had to find, okay, well, that's in the tryptophan family. So I had to find what the equivalent of that medication is in that country. Like even for like acetaminophen here, Tylenol, acetaminophen over in England, it's called paracetamol. It's that kind of thing. So you have to know what is your name. And also, if it's in another language, you need to find out what it is in another language. These things are very important. Also, the name for your disability. They have different, like in England, quadriplegia is called tetraplegia. So, you have different names. So that's some advice, and this is just basic to me, just basic stuff, like your survival stuff. You need to know that. You need to know where can I go to get my equipment fixed? Like say you have a chair, because you're gonna stuff happens, um, being able to have that information, or find out where to get that information. Having, like I said, having your list of medications already, and if it's in another language, find a way to get those documents like translated, so where you can have it. Like if you're going, say you're going to German, and let me try to think of something. Say you're going to Japan. I think that it would behoove someone to find, because now you can go online, go do Google Translate, print out a document in Japanese of your medicines, of what your disability is, whatever, and say, hey, or these are my doctors, listen, blah, blah, blah. I think that is a really great idea. And, having backups of things as well. And also having an idea, having a plan A, but also having a plan B and a plan C. I mean, people with disabilities are used to that. We're used to always having to think outside the box. You have to really think outside the box, about your needs, and think about how do I communicate what it is that I need to someone else who doesn't live where I live, and know the things that I know here, what I don't know, what they know. Find out what they know. And so, other advice, being able to connect with, if you can finding other ways to connect with people with your disability over there, because there are people with spinal cord injury. Like I have a spinal cord injury. There are people with spinal cord injuries in other countries, and they have support groups or activities and things like that, and you can make connections like that. Or I've made connections through disability, other disability rights advocates, like, oh, you're going here, hey, you should connect with this person. And being open here, opening up. I say opening up, and probably the words are not coming out right, but tell people, you can talk to your community here and say, hey, I'm going abroad, I'm going to be studying, I'm going to do this. If people say, hey, I can connect you, and then also like I said, within your disability communities or whatever, like Alice Wong, when I went to Japan, Alice Wong was like, hey, you need to meet blah, blah, blah. They live in Tokyo and y'all should meet. Did I get a chance to take her up on that? No, I wish I had. But, but sometimes I'm like, why do people just say that they think I'm just going to Japan? No. Oh, yeah. It's another big disability advocate. I missed out on meeting them because reasons. But but finding ways to connect, because then they can tell you more. And also they will have resources because they live there. So in case, you run into stuff like that, but it's just good to know. And it's good to have community because you have that linking you,
Mm-hmm.
and, but I also know that how I think about my disability, based also like on cultural, treatment and guidance and expectations or whatever are different than say someone that lives somewhere else, because even regional here in the United States, things are different. So it's going to be like that in another country. And you have to like, I have a friend who works with disability. She's a person, she's Senegal, she's in the Congo, and she's Congolese, and a large part of her education is going around to people and teaching them that their children with cerebral palsy are not cursed, or are not cursed by demons, or or cursed by God or whatever. That that's not something culturally that is thought about here. So that's actually real. That's something important to know, because I would like to go to the Congo because I want to visit her. I want to see her country, and I want to also see what it's like to have disability being viewed as something that is supernatural, that happened to you, something that happened to you, rather than it's just part of the human experience.
Did you find any resources that were helpful while abroad to help you with your disability?
Yeah, well, the internet. But the things that like specific resources, no. What I would do was I went I went and looked up things like when I was in, like when I went to Korea. I'm like, disability in Korea, looking up, kind of reading about what legislation that they had enacted around and what was available, what kind of support, what the laws were concerning disability, and what kind of general public support was available when going out. So that was very helpful. Like, I looked at the resource guide that was at the airport, because it turned out, like in Korea, in the airport, they have a special room and thing for for people who are flying with disabilities, where you can go to that lounge, and they have a lounge. That's it. It's like a disabled lounge. Those are the things like I looked up. I looked up like, oh, because that is a big thing. Every airport is different around the world. Disability services are not the same. Hell, disability services are not the same in the airports all around this country. So, those kind of looking those up. But I also, other resources were like travel boards and things like that, reading what other people with disabilities, particularly like my disability, what sort of things, what were issues, and things that came up for them or their experiences. So, I found those discussion boards really helpful. Those sort of things, from both Americans. But you can also, read discussion boards. Like in England, I can read things that British people, British people with disabilities, what they have to say and their resources, like their train resources. Oh, whoa, that's a big, yes. Because, how are you getting around? Like if you're studying and you're going to be living in a country, okay, so how are you going to get around? What stations are accessible? Because not all, especially in like these countries that, are older, like the UK, that had their subway system built, way back when, not all of their stations are accessible. Same here. It's the same as like in New York and in here in the Bay Area. Not every single train station is accessible. So you have to plan your route based on that, or you find out that they have, that's how I found out that they have other, if you can get access to other transportation that's supposed to be an accommodation because the subway is not accessible. And, and things like that, like finding out about how to take a certain kind of bus or get, transport that way. But also I got to find out what kind of advocacy and activism is being done and what people with disabilities feel are important, what's important over there in order to gain access. And what accommodation access issues, concerns, or celebrations, and that's all very important. I mean, those are the resources. That's what I do whenever I look.